So first of all, a very warm welcome. My name is Bart Pellegrom. I work for a UK company, so Network Critical is actually a UK company. Myself, I'm Dutch, and I like to introduce today to you the way to gain access to your network traffic for security and for monitoring. I think we all talked about today, my dear colleagues, about security and monitoring appliances, what they all can do. But at the beginning, we need to have the access to the data, so that's where we start and that's where we come in. So let me start off with a little story. So let's imagine you have acquired your shiny new monitoring equipment. It's very expensive, it can do everything you want to do. And then you have done all the hard work. So you have done your studies, you have done your investigations. You're so proud of doing that. You're proud as a peacock. You're king of the jungle. So you go to your boss, you say, well, I've done all that work, I need a raise. And also you go home to your wife and said, well, my dear, I'm the biggest and best, so she buys you a very nice dinner. The next morning you come back, you open your nice precious box, and then it starts hitting you. How do I actually get my data from my network into my monitoring solution? So that's the best way to describe what we do. We give you the best and safest way to get your monitoring data into your networking appliance. So at that same time, you're looking at your box, you have opened it, and you think, well, all kinds of questions start running through your brain. Maybe you want to monitor several links with the same application, and maybe you have only specific information you would like to have out of your monitoring data, so you want to give that to your network device. Or you have multiple 1 gig links you want to send to a 10 gig. There are many, many reasons you can think of on how you would like to have your data into your monitoring system. So, but confident as you are, you think of a quick solution. So the best, brilliant and smartest idea is you use a spam port or a mirror port from a switch to gain the traffic from your data. Well, you think a little bit about it, and of course you're not very silly, so you're very smart. You think, well, hang on, if I'm using a mirror port from a switch is actually made to do switching, so the lowest priority on the switch is the mirror port. So you're never 100% sure if you see all the data, because if a switch is busy, it will drop the information on the mirror port. And of course, somebody has to do the configuration of the switch. The switch has a limited number of ports available for monitoring, so there are many reasons why this could be not the smartest way to use it. So, in that case, you remember the story of the Dutchman about network taps and network packet brokers. So what is actually a tap? So a tap is a device that will be placed in your network, and the first priority we always make sure your link is up and running. Regardless what happens to our device or the monitoring device, we always make sure that your link is up and running. We are invisible in the network. We don't have an IP address, we don't have a MAC address, so we can't be hacked. And in that sense, if we have done that, then the next step what we do is we give you all the data where you want it and how you want it. So here are some common, maybe a slightly technical way to show you what a tap is basically doing. So we have various modes what you can do with a tap. So if we're talking about a breakout mode, basically a tap is placed into the link, so between a router and a switch, for example, and then we take a copy of the traffic and we send that out to the monitoring ports. In breakout mode, we shift the TX and the RX separately out, because if you have a full duplex link, you can have 1 gig send, then 1 gig receive, for example. You can't get 2 gigabit out of a 1 gig port. So in that sense, we're using breakout mode. And also aggregation means that we can aggregate multiple links together, so we can put them together out of the ports, and that also saves you a number of ports, for example, on your expensive monitoring equipment. And sometimes you have multiple monitoring systems out there which you need the same traffic for. So we can also do a thing called regeneration. So these are basically standard tap modes, if you think about it. Applications that require taps, there are tons of it out of there. So anything that needs to have access to your network traffic, that basically can use a tap in that sense. We offer a Smart NX solution. That means we are flexible. We give you a chassis which is a modular-based solution. and we can give you all the topologies you need to tap or to aggregate or to filter or whatever you would like to do. In this case, this is a modular system. You can chuck in any module you like. You can combine speeds and technologies. You can go from fiber to copper out or whatever you would like to do. It's a very powerful tool, and you can start with one module, you can click in another one, and this is how you can start getting your traffic where you want it and also how you want it. Also, sometimes you have these intelligent ways of getting the traffic. So in this case, we have a very intelligent smart NA packet processing card, an IPP card module. This is basically created for a number of purposes. If you have tunneled traffic, like a VLAN or a GRE or GTP, so you would like to see inside the tunnel, because if you have the traffic with the tunnel, you only see the outside of the tunnel. So and if you want to do monitoring, it looks inside. So in that case, we have the ability to take the tunnel off, do the recalculation of the CSC, and actually then give it the traffic back to your monitoring system, so you can actually look inside the tunnel. But not only we can modify the header of the packet, we can also modify the payload. Think about, for example, if you're a bank and you have a very expensive monitoring system, but you don't want to send the real data to the monitoring system because that's sensitive. So in that case, we have the ability to either take off the data of the packet, or we can change the data of the packet to ones and zeros, so it's actually garbage. So you still have your very secure way of sending data to your monitoring equipment. I think we believe we have the best GUI in the industry. So not only the big kings of the jungle can use it, but every king of the jungle can use it. You can use it by a command line if you like, if you want to do it the difficult way. But we use, in this sense, the best way is to use the HTML5 way. So there is no Java involved, there is no difficulty. So just go onto the device via the monitoring port, and you can just drag and drop. So simply what you do is click on the one link, and where you want to have the data, just drag the information to the other port or multiple ports, wherever you want to have it. And then you can not only say, I would like to send all the data there, but you can also do a pre-filter. So you can have not only a simple few ports, but you can have multiple ports on bigger systems. We can go up to 100 gig. So it doesn't matter to us if you have 1 gig, a 100 megabit, or 25 gig, or 10 gig, or 100 gig, 40 gig. So we can all do it. The best way is to get the data where you want it, is to, of course, save money on your monitoring equipment. So if you give your monitoring equipment only the data that it actually needs, in that sense, then you will save eventually, of course, your monitoring equipment, and you utilize your monitoring equipment the best way. Because why do you want to send something to the monitoring equipment that first needs to be discarded? So we have the unique possibility also to filter the traffic before we send it to the monitoring information. So you can filter on many different ways. You can filter on IP, you can filter on VLAN, you can filter on port numbers. So you can filter on various criteria in your data, so you can send all the traffic where you want to have it and how you want to have it. So that's a very clever way. Not only we can do this on one particular stream, but we can take the traffic from the same stream and we can send one application only that particular data, and the other one we can send a different set of data. So you don't have to do rocket science to figure this out. This is all embedded in our unique filtering system. Of course, all the obvious things are in our system, so you can, of course, for management, everything is involved, so you can do TACAX radius. You can store your information into the system. It's very clever and very unique, and it's also very user-friendly, because we have a philosophy. This is something you set up, and maybe you use it every once or twice in a couple of months. So you don't want to go back to school to every time to program the damn thing again if you want to change something. So that's why we created a very unique and very easy to use system. As I said, we have a simple for monitoring, so a modular system. We also have a system where we can gain very big amounts of ports. We can go up to, if we stack them together, up to 192 ports in that sense. We can use 40 gig, 1 gig, 10 gig, 100 gig, everything we can combine and throw it all in the same mix. So it's a very flexible way of getting your data where you want it and how you want it. But now we have looked at the monitoring side. And monitoring is for me something that we make a copy of the traffic, so you can look at it as it is, where you can't actually change it on the spot. So your boss has now decided to create a new system, or he wants to have a new system, so he wants to stop the hackers before they get into your live network. So in that sense, he has chosen to find an IPS system, an intrusion prevention system. So intrusion prevention means that you have to actually block the real traffic when you go into the live link. So and now the next challenge is, how are you going to connect this thing? So you start thinking again, and you think, okay, how do I put my new, shiny, very expensive appliance again in my network? And at that thing, you're a little bit more relaxed than the last time. And you're thinking, while you're relaxing, again, about the Dutchman and his story. Not sure where you got the information from the Dutchman, but that's why you're thinking. So in that sense, we are using our inline tapping and appliances. So what is actually an inline appliance? And actually, an inline appliance is something that actually involved in the real traffic on the spot. So that could be bandwidth management, data leakage prevention, inline prevention systems, so IPSs, firewalls, proxy servers, you name it, they are all inline, so they actually need to do something with the real traffic. So why should you use your VLine solution or an inline solution? So let's imagine you have your new box and you place it into the link, and something goes wrong with the box. So you have to not only lose the link, and they are basically always placed on the main core networks, so that's where all the data is. So you will lose your link, and also you have to still take the traffic out, because you have to break the link again. Even if you have some sort of a fail-safe mechanism in the box, you still have to break the link again. And not only to mention if your application of the unit fails, and the network will stay up. So in that sense, it's way, way better and smarter to install a network tap, because you don't have those issues. And if you want to change something on the unit, or you want to do a patch, you don't have to have a service window. You simply connect it into the link again. So as you have seen with the previous slides, if we do talking about tapping, then we send the traffic from A to B, so it's uninterrupted, it's invisible. And then we send a copy to C and D. But if the device itself has to block the traffic, or has to act on the real traffic, then of course it's no use to send it to a copy. So in that case, we do it a little bit different. We send the traffic first from A to C, into the inline device, back to the switch, and that's how the device itself then is actually looking if it was in the link itself, and it also connects on the real traffic. So not only it's now acting on the real traffic, but also we have built in some really nice security features. We are checking with a heartbeat packet if the device is actually active and if it's still working. So not only the networking, but also the application itself, so we know the device is actually working. In case of the application or the device itself should be fail, then the only thing we do is keep the link straight through. So your network is still up and running. The only thing you can do is just disconnect your monitoring device from the monitoring ports, fix it, repair it, replace it, whatever you need to do. And as soon as you click it back again, you don't need to have a service window, you have inline security again. You can start with this way in just tapping mode, because sometimes you want to first find out what you actually start blocking before you're programming it. So in that sense, you can set the device itself first in tapping mode, and then if you're happy with what you have accomplished, you can go into the bypass mode, and so you connect your device very safely into your monitoring equipment. So basically, we bring it all together where you want and how you want. We don't care what type of solution you're using. We're working with all the major vendors, like the firewalls, the Impervas and the Palo Altos in the world. So regardless what you're using, we give you the data where you want it and how you want it. And also in the way that you will save money on your monitoring equipment, because your monitoring equipment is usually the most expensive part. And we are very clever in the way we can deliver the traffic where you want it. So we can take multiple links in, we can aggregate it out to one or multiple ports on your monitoring system. Sometimes people have still old 1 gig monitoring systems and they have a 10 gig new link. So what do you do with the old systems? You will throw them out. We can say we take the 10 gig traffic, we tap the 10 gig traffic and send it out on the monitoring boards. But then we do it a load balance. So we have multiple 1 gig ports, we balance the traffic over to multiple systems. So basically, this is a very flexible way of getting all the traffic where you want it. You can do it, of course, in your whole data center or your whole organization. You can connect all the devices together, and then you will put all your monitoring systems in one place. For management, is that obviously the best way. So again, it's not about the tapping and the monitoring, it's the way we do it in the clever way. And the clever way is, of course, getting the traffic how you need it and where you need it, and also in a sense that it's the less restraint on your budget, because at the end of the day, that's all what it is, to try to do the most things with the less budget. We have a variety and a wide range of solutions available, not only the high-end, we also have simple tapping if you are having a 1 gig network, so we can do still the tapping, the aggregation and the filtering if you would like. So there is a variety of things we can do. You can send traffic from any to any or many to many. You can do mixing of copper, fiber, speeds and technologies. It's very secure. You can have send traffic over the backplane from any port to any port and mix and match any module. And everything is also hot swappable in that sense. The last but not least, I think this is one very simple one. That's a fiber optic tap. Usually when we have fiber links, we start with an optical tap. So basically we take a piece of the light. And the light, that's what we're taking off the main link we send to the monitoring port. So this is a very inexpensive device. It's non-intrusive. You can use it, we have devices up to 100 gig. So basically it's taking off light and that's what we send to the monitoring port. There is no power involved, so you don't need to manage it. There is no power. It's very simple and very cost effective. This is always the best way to start, for example, in your network to have these things available. And we can take the light off for monitoring in our more intelligent devices, so you can still do filtering or aggregating or whatever you would like. So this can be done with the fiber optical taps. So to be long and short, I think this was the easiest one of the day, because it's not that complicated if you ask me. When you need us, we have the best and the easiest way of connecting your data traffic wherever you want and however you want it. And the best way is, if you want more information, just give us a call. And also, if you would like to know more, then you can visit me outside the event, so I can give you more details, and I can also show you a little bit more information about network tapping. So this is a story for me of today. I think it's a little bit quicker, but I think it's enough information for now. So if you have any questions, then you can ask me now, or you can come see me later. Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed, Bart.